seen wrestlers fight other wrestlers, but have you seen a wrestler fight a bear? Throughout the 20th century, many wrestlers would face off against real, live bears. How did any of them survive? Well, the bears usually had a muzzle on and were declawed. Despite those limitations though, the bears were still actually pretty good wrestlers.
Today.
Watch, what? See the head or body.
Being that they were bears, they wouldn't always cooperate and would sometimes attack the referee. By the mid-80s, most wrestling companies stopped having bears on their roster, and nowadays, bear wrestling has become completely non-existent. However, bears are not the only animals to step inside the squared circle. The longest reigning WWE champion, Bruno Sammartino, once wrestled against an orangutan for 15 minutes before having to tap out. In the mid-1900s, a wrestler named Tough Truesdale made a name for himself by wrestling alligators. But the craziest of them all is when Canadian wrestling legend Stu Hart competed against a live tiger. It's not known who won the match, but my money is on the cat. Japan has also done some insane matches involving animals. One of them was the Piranha Death Match. A tank filled with live piranhas sat in the middle of the ring, and the goal was to put your opponent inside the tank. Just to remind you, piranhas can bite through steel. So how did this match end? Well, here's how. He surprisingly left the ring in one piece, and if you thought this was the only crazy wrestling match you would see in Japan, think again. If piranhas weren't dangerous enough, there was also a scorpion death match. Literally, the first person to put their opponent in a tank filled with scorpions for 10 seconds won. And if that didn't seem painful enough, there was also cacti in the ring that could be used as a weapon. If you still don't think it could get any crazier than this, think again. I'm guessing you're familiar with Jake the Snake Roberts. He would come out to the ring with his python Damien and use it to terrify his opponents. However, I'm guessing you're less familiar with Sean Venom. This guy also had a snake accompanying him to the ring, but he took things one step further. When the snake wasn't hanging around Venom's neck, the reptile was kept in a box. This created the snake box match, where the goal, as you can guess, was to put your opponent in a box with a snake. I'm guessing PETA didn't sign off on this. In 2007, it was revealed that Hornswoggle was Vince McMahon's illegitimate son. McMahon became protective of his newfound child, so to prepare Swoggle for the Royal Rumble, McMahon set up a mini Rumble match. What we didn't realize was how literal it was going to be. All of the competitors were mini versions of WWE wrestlers. This included a mini Batista, mini Mr. Kennedy, mini Kane, and even a mini Mankind. The match featured several funny moments, like mini Kennedy not being able to reach the microphone and mini Batista hitting a mini Batista bomb. The fun ended though once the Great Khali entered, and unfortunately, he wasn't mini. However, Finlay made the save, and Hornswoggle was the one who had his hand raised at the end. In the 90s, WCW would host a yearly pay-per-view called World War III. The main event was always the titular World War III match that featured a whopping 60-man battle royal. In order to fit everyone, the match had to be split up between 3 rings, each containing 20 wrestlers. Once the match was down to the final 30, the remaining competitors would all merge into one ring. That's crazy, but it's not nearly as insane as this next match. In 2019, Game Changer Wrestling presented a match featuring 2 of John Cena's relatives, Invisible Stan and Invisible Man.
Also from parts unknown, his weight is also unmeasurable, the Invisible Man!
While us mortals weren't able to see the action, the referee thankfully came prepared with bad boy vision goggles. Stan and Man started the match with a technical showcase and traded pinfall attempts, but neither one could get the 3. The match then went to the floor and spilled out through the crowd. The battle of the invisible wrestlers got out of control, so additional referees and backstage officials came out. However, it was not enough to contain Invisible Stan and Invisible Man.
Don't do it! Don't do it! No! Oh! Out of the balcony! Dangerous! That's about a 30-foot fall! Holy shit!
The match then returned to the ring, but it somehow got even more intense.
Oh! Through the table! Cover ring! 2 and 3! He got him!
Now, in case you left your goggles at home, the ring announcer was kind enough to tell us who won.
Winner of the match is the Invisible Man!
Seeing a wrestler go through a small pile of thumbtacks looks extremely painful. Now imagine going through 50,000 of them. The company Beyond Wrestling hosted a 50,000 thumbtack match. Oh, and don't worry, both wrestlers fell on them a lot. The only thing more strange than seeing that many thumbtacks in the ring was the fact that Ash Ketchum from Pokemon was the referee. Wrestlers come in all shapes and sizes. We've seen giants and men tougher than steel. Heck, we've seen grandpas wrestle. However, I doubt you've seen this. In 2011, Kenny Omega traveled to Japan to take on the opponent of a lifetime, a 9-year-old girl. Don't let her size fool you, she packs a punch. Even though his opponent was a child, Kenny Omega did not hold anything back. Equal rights, equal fights, I guess. Luckily for the girl, she was saved by the bell when the time limit of the match was reached. As bizarre as this might be, this is only like the 6th strangest thing to come out of Japanese wrestling. In addition to everything else we've seen, Japan has also blown up the ring with the wrestlers inside it. In Japan, a unique match stipulation exists called the Exploding Barbed Wire Death Match. First, instead of regular wrestling ring ropes, the ropes are replaced with barbed wire. Because that clearly isn't dangerous enough, the ropes also explode when hit. Besides those small differences, the match is won just like usual by either pinning or submitting your opponent. But while the match is going on, there's a timer, and once it counts down, well, you know what happens. Once COVID struck the world and everyone had to socially distance, it made wrestling basically impossible. However, Game Changer Wrestling found a creative way around that. The company held the first ever social distancing rules match. Both wrestlers had to stay 6 feet apart from each other at all times. What's most shocking though is that it actually worked.
Big rear back. Oh, big punch.
The referee even came prepared with hand sanitizer to ensure a 99.9% germ-free match. But the best part came at the end.
What is Janela doing? Oh, tackle! Oh, through the door!
This next match gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, high risk. In an effort to create a spectacle, several wrestling companies held scaffolding matches. As you would assume, these matches had a scaffolding structure set up either above the ring or nearby, with the goal being to throw your opponent off it. With a match like this, it's not surprising that several wrestlers have gotten seriously injured. Wrestling manager Jim Cornette infamously broke a leg during one such match in 1986. Years later, in ECW, New Jack fought Vic Grimes in a scaffolding match. However, due to a miscommunication, Grimes landed on New Jack's head, which caused brain damage and made Jack permanently blind in his right eye. After 6 months of recovery, New Jack and Vic Grimes fought again in another scaffolding match. If you're surprised that New Jack agreed to compete in this type of match again, then you've never met New Jack. Once the two wrestlers got on top of the scaffolding, New Jack used a real taser to shock Vic Grimes. Jack then threw his opponent off the scaffolding with the intent of killing him. Despite New Jack's wishes, Vic Grimes did survive. Sometimes, it's not the wrestling matches themselves, but where they take place that's bizarre. For instance, Walmart hosted a wrestling show once. This looks like something AI would create. Another one is this wrestling show that took place outside of a Golden Corral. I feel like I know exactly how everyone in this photo would talk. It's not just small companies that have done shows in unique locations either. The debut episode of WCW Nitro was broadcast from the largest shopping mall in the US, the Mall of America. Around that same time, WWE hosted an event inside a subway station in New York City. The wrestlers had walked down a flight of stairs to get into the ring, but the best moment was seeing The Undertaker hit a tombstone piledriver on an escalator.
Let's get it! Wait a minute! Hold on! Oh! Right on the escalator!
That's impressive. But have you ever seen a wrestling ring on water? Well, once again, Japan managed to do the impossible. The company, FMW, actually put a wrestling ring in the middle of a pool. Wrestlers made their entrances on boats, and of course, someone got thrown into the water. The truly amazing thing though, is that instead of the ring exploding, the water exploded. Now all of this has been strange, crazy, and bizarre, but this next clip is the most insane. During a tag team match in Combat Zone Wrestling, Osirian Portal was having some difficulty putting their opponents away. When their usual methods weren't working, they resorted to a different tactic.
As they were fitting all by himself, ducks in the clothesline, Amos is catching his spot. Mesmerizing.
He's using hypnosis!
Is that legal here?
This can't be legal in international rules! Look
But
at
it's working.
He's hypnotizing the entranceway too!
Not only did they hypnotize their opponents, but Osirian Portal managed to hypnotize the entire locker room. The match turned into a full-on dance party, which Osirian used to knock their opponents down and get the win. After winning the World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton celebrated by making the fans take off their shirts. To see what happened next, watch this video.